Good morning. This is Noah Gutierrez and Dave Packybush from Diversified Product here with the LineWise product brand. Today, we're going to be doing a webinar over the LineWise TLL-300. It has two options. We have what we call the B and the D. And today, we're going to dig into that a little bit more and share what all that is about and what it all means. And those that joined yesterday, I'm not sure if anybody else has rejoined from yesterday. That's typically not something that someone would do unless they just like seeing mine and Dave's faces. But other than that, today's webinar is going to be different. Dave Packybush is known to go above and beyond, and we thank him for that. And he went through a series of events here to make this happen today, but we actually have a 300D, B, Bravo, that we're going to demonstrate today here. So it's right here in this room with us, and we're going to go through that here shortly. But in the meantime, like we always like to start off with, is we go to the website, which is line-wise.com. We always like to be able to show you where you can find this and share this with your customers. If you're a LineWise manufacturer's rep, and if you're a customer and you want to you're on this webinar today, and you want to share it with your colleagues, with your management, whoever it is you want to share it with, this is how you would find it. So it's line-wise.com, and then you go to utility, and then you go to distribution products. And as always, you might find it in certain other locations on the website, but here's where we go to today, TL-300. And then from there, you can download the brochure and any other information. Now, the TLL stands for, just like any other of the names TL that we have, which is triple line lifter. And then the 300 is the capacity per phase, which is 300 pounds per phase. There are going to be various adapters that you could order to work with any one of the digger derricks that you're looking to use it with. Currently, the more prominent ones here in the USA are Terex and Altec. And so right now, while we did release this just right before the show, Utility Expo, it was the only one we had at that time. And I think there was 3 that were ordered that we're doing testing on, but it will not actually be available for delivery until probably first quarter 2022. So it's a good time to start getting the word out and starting to share that. So Dave, tell us a little bit more about this 300 that we're going to be looking at.
Okay, well, we're trying to get more into the distribution market. If you're familiar with our products, we've had the Oxon, which was what we think was a step above some of the competition, but we've decided to try to make a lower cost version of the Oxarm. And one of the benefits of this is if it's on a digger, then you can also do vertical construction. So with the bucket truck, you're only allowed to do horizontal, because the reason being is the bucket trucks can't handle that much load that far out, 900 pounds. 36 inches away from the bucket, they just can't do that. But the diggers, the bigger diggers, they can. So we've entered into this. We've incorporated all the stuff that we think sets us apart from the competition. We'll show you here in a second, the square glass that the wire holders won't twist around. No cross bracing to get your full 300 pounds per position. We run a desiccant canister system, which we'll go through here in a minute, to help keep the insides of the fiberglass dry and clean. Like I say, we've got 2 different versions, the 300B for bucket and the D for digger. And the bucket version has an 8-foot cross arm and a 36-inch mast. As you can see, the maximum face spacing 7.6 for the B, and 3'9" from the center out. And then the D has a 9'2". So we've actually got a longer cross arm on the digger model. that we can get, and which gives you 4'7". And then, of course, the phase to ground is the 36-inch of the mast, the clear span of the mast that we use on it. And then the phase to phase would be something that the customer would set for what his minimums are. We don't get into work practices, so it's whatever their minimum distance between phases can be. The 8-foot cross arm with a 36-inch mast is 110 pounds total weight. The 10-foot cross arm with a 12-foot mast for the digger is 135. So we're trying to keep the weight down as low as we can to make it easier to handle, and so we can get some more loading capacity. But neither one of these have any hydraulic adjustment. It's all manual. That's one of the things with the lightweight is you can adjust it by hand. You're not needing those hydraulics. Hydraulics just add weight and cost. So we're trying to keep it as low as possible.
Yeah, and like you say, historically, the products that we've supplied have always been just awful heavy, but that was, like Dave was saying, the transmission line is just, it's big, it's heavy. And that's what, and with the safety factors and all, that's what's contributed to the weight of our products in the past. I've never heard, and I don't want this to be a challenge to any customer on this call today, I've never heard of someone breaking one of our products because they overloaded it when it comes to a triple line lifter or any other product for that matter. And so it's because of the safety factors that we built into that. Now, again, we still use the same safety factors. So to me, that's huge that we're able to get down to this lightweight product and still have those safety factors built into this product. The loading here that we can see on the screen here in the red, you can see that it's got the 300 pounds normal loading in the horizontal position, which are the two pictures on the top. The wire holders you can see are pointing straight up, and then you have the 100 pounds of side load. Or what's the other term you use, Dave? I like that term better than side
Tangent?
load. Tangent loading. There we go. As you can see, the arrows pointing in the direction of the load. And then the one picture down below it shows the vertical configuration, just as Dave was explaining. No other arm like this is doing vertical in the industry today.
Not that I know of. Nobody builds one.
And the configuration or the loading remains the same, 300 pounds per wire holder or face. And then you have 100 pounds of the tangent loading as well. Notice the wire holders in that picture are pointing up in this configuration. This is by simply pulling a pin and then rotating the wire holder up and reinserting that pin. Our digital marketing specialist went through some extra work over the last 24 hours roughly to get us some pictures to look at. This is where I was saying today's webinar is way better than yesterday's was. And so I thank Heather Steele, our digital marketing specialist, for pulling all this together, and Dave Packerbush for getting the arm together that we're going to see today as well. So here you can see this was from Utility Expo, right? So we were there taking pictures and all. And these are some pictures that Heather was able to get for us. And as you can see here, this particular 300D is used on a Terex General 65. Now that's not going to be a normal application for
not for distribution. Normally the 65 is a transmission.
That's right.
Truck. And you've noticed the size of the orange adapter. We're currently reducing the size because we don't need that much adapter for the 900 pounds of capacity with the safety loading. So we had that available, so that's what we used. They were giving us that digger for the show, so that's what we used. So the adapter weight's going to come way down. We'll actually be picking up, I believe, the hollow shiv pin holes that are in the head will actually what the deal attaches to. And then the one for the Altec will be basically the same. So we're going to cut a lot of weight out of these adapters for you. And then I was just with engineering yesterday, and the B model, we're actually looking at having one that attaches to the boom behind the buckets. So we get more versatility out of it. So
I saw Brian LaRue's picture on the screen this morning, so I think he's joining us. Brian, if you're still there, this is something that we've talked about for years now, about mounting behind the boom tip or behind the buckets on the bucket trucks. And so that's going to be an option that's finally coming out after all these years. And so that's what we're doing over these next 2 months, is reworking the adapters to get them lighter and coming up with these other options. We want to give everyone the most versatility possible out of all this to be able to allow them to get the max usage out of it. So this is another picture here that you can see. The boom is boomed down on the Terex General 65, and this is where they're doing the installation of the 300D for digger derrick on this particular picture here. Next picture here, we can see they're adjust or put on the wire holders, right?
They're pinning the mast to the crossarm.
There we go. Yeah, so the crossarm there is being pinned onto the mast.
And now they're putting on the wire holders.
Wire holders are going on there, yes, sir. And next,
There we go.
and then it's all assembled.
Yep, set the angle that you want at the base and hit it up and go to work.
And as Dave mentioned earlier, we're using the square glass, no round glass. When we've often heard that, you know, what do we have for competition and things of that nature? And in my book, there's really no competition. It's what other people have that probably perform similar functions, but they're not comparing apples to apples. The competition, if that's what you want to call it, has round fiberglass. We have the square fiberglass. The wire holders on what they would call the competition rotate around the glass. That's one of the complaints we hear about all the time. And we're not going to have that problem with ours. They have to have diagonal bracing. We don't have diagonal bracing. They have to have insulators underneath the wire holders. We don't have to have that because we use the fiberglass for that. We got the extra added safety feature of the desiccant canister, right, that Dave mentioned earlier. Blue desiccant indicates everything is fine. Pink desiccant means you should change the desiccant out. But blue desiccant indicates that the boom is ready. Look at this. Dave even went the extra mile again here. Look at that.
So what we have here is, this is a sample of our hot jib that we sell to in place of the material handling jib. This is a certified hot tool. But anyway, this is our sample. And in this sample, we have our desiccant canister.
Yes.
All right. So as you can see, that's a beautiful, I don't know if you can see it, but that's a beautiful pink. That means that needs to be changed out. So what we do is, blue desiccant is good, but what we do is we seal all this fiberglass up so that any air that enters or gets out of the jib has to go across the desiccant in the system to keep the inside of this thing clean and dry. So it's, as you can see, it's very easy to take out. I can set this down, and of course the top comes off of this just like this. Unscrews, it's threaded, comes out. You dump the old desiccant out, put new desiccant in, put it back like that, put it back in your fiberglass, and go to work. So we use it on our hot jib. We use it for the majority of our products. There's probably one or two of our fiberglass products that don't have a desiccant canister system of some kind. So we find it convenient. And then people ask me, how long does the desiccant last? It depends on what temperature changes as to how much air is moving in and out of the jib. So I've had them some up in the panhandle of Texas that have been there for 2 years and it's still blue.
Yeah. Because
they keep it inside, so we don't have a lot of temperature changes. And then, of course, you know, in a couple of weeks in Florida, it'll go completely pink. So, but anyway, that's the desiccant canister system that we use on all of our stuff. And we do have the desiccant available if customers need. We have that available by the 5-pound jug.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that, Dave. And so
you want to go through the line?
Yeah. So now I didn't expect this today. Dave completely surprised me. In fact, when I walked in this room, I walked right by it and didn't even see it. I sat down here and I was like, whoa, how did you get that in here? So there were some modifications he had to make today to make this happen to the stand. But here's the demo we have right here.
This way. All right. So what we got is this is a 300B. So this is the one for the bucket truck. This is your 30, there'll be 36 inches of clear span fiberglass here. This is giving you your primary protection of face to ground. And then of course we've got your adjustments on your wire holder. Your wire holder has got a gravity gate. So as your conductor comes in, the gate closes behind it. When you're ready to get off of it, flip it over to your hot stick, away you go. And as the conductor comes out, it resets the gate. Now, what's nice about this and what we've done to lower the cost over this is the old method we would use. Okay, so you'd have to drill a hole. Where am I at? Oh, there I am. Drill a hole. It's backwards. Drill a hole, and then we would boss it, right, to keep the inside dry, right, with our desiccant canister system. So drill a hole, put a boss in, costs money, right? So what we've done is we've left the glass with no perforation. We haven't penetrated the glass at all. And what we do is we come under here and we bond on these ridges all along the glass. What that allows you to do is you can adjust your wire holders this way. Right? Every 3 inches on this piece of the 300. So you can go in between the little fields, and you can go over. So we've got a cutout, you know. So, and you can adjust these with a set of gloves on, with rubber gloves. I have tried it, and we can, and you can lock them down like that. So it's easy to adjust. It's easy to keep. Like I say, we've lowered the cost because we're not having to penetrate the glass and then come back and boss it. Makes the manufacturing a little easier. We can pass the cost saving on to the customer. The cross arm can be adjusted. We can do 15 degrees from 90, so you can go 15 degrees either way here, or you can turn it 180, and you can go 15 and 15 from there. And you can do this with the D model also.
That's right. Now, I noticed that there's 2 bolts on the wire holder there.
Yes, sir.
Is there typically a pin there for the other hole?
For the D modelers, that's what this other hole here is for. Is when you need to go vertical, then you would replace a pin, pull a pin out and put it in. With this one, since you can't go vertical with it, we will go ahead and bolt them up and make it so it's harder to move that. So
that's right. Very good. That answers that question. Well, all right. I don't know that there's anything else to say about the product. It's a very simple product. We talked about this yesterday, in that there's not very much to it. It's very simple. Dave demonstrated that very well. And so at this time, Dave, is there anything that we're missing before we open up the floor to questions or comments?
Not that I know of, but yeah, I've been known to miss stuff.
Okay. Some of the questions that came out of yesterday's webinar was, if you noticed and you were looking closely at those wire holders, this is the first wire holder that we're placing on one of our products that does not have rollers. Right. And so someone was asking, can we get wire holders with rollers in them?
Okay.
And the answer is you can.
It'll add weight and it'll add cost.
That's right.
That's the reason it doesn't have rollers, is we're trying to lower the cost. For years, they've been using the wire holders without rollers. We're not expecting a lot of movement side to side, so we're not expecting to have any problems with that. We've radiused all the edges to make it smooth, but it's not really designed to pick up and then move, great distances where you would need rollers. So
that's right. Now, what about the another question that came out of yesterday's webinar was, can we put insulators in between the wire holders and the arm itself?
Yes, we found a manufacturer that their small little insulator. If you need it, we don't have to have it, but if you need it, if you feel safer with these little poly insulators on there, we found a manufacturer that does meet our criteria for the vertical and the side loads.
Very good. Those are the questions that we had yesterday. I can't think of anything else that came out of yesterday's call, right? As far as questions are concerned.
Just availability, and like I say, we're looking at first quarter of next year to be able to have these out. We're going through testing right now, and yeah, we'll get that. Say everybody's having problems with the supply chain. All of our glass is made right here in Waco, Texas, at Waco Boom.
Yep. So
our glass is not caught in a container somewhere off the West Coast. They can't get here. We've got all our stuff locally. The lead times are longer, but like I said, we've got a good supplier and a good product with Waco Boom. Yeah,
I would say that there has been some supply chain issues that have come up, but I don't know that the supply chain has really hurt us all that bad as it has others. And so we're grateful for that for sure. And we're continuing to move forward. Like I said, right now, the only delay at this point is redesigning our adapters. If anybody, this came out in yesterday's call as well, is that if you wanted to place this on the General 65, we could move forward right now for that one unit. We had that adapter from the show for Utility Expo and the 300D available, but not everyone's going to be using the General 65 in a 34.5 and lower application. So We just did what we had to do to get to Utility Expo, and that's kind of where we ended up at. So at this time, if there's any questions, we'd love to answer any questions that you have, comments. Maybe you were at Utility Expo and you saw something there and you want to share that with us. Well, this is the time to do it. So the floor is open.
One of the things that I forgot to add about the square glass is the wire holder won't rotate around, so it won't,
Right.
won't trap your conductor in the wire holder as it rotates around. So that's one of the reasons for the square glass. The other thing is the dielectric. Of course, they'll all be certified before they go in the field, and then we have a maximum of 2 years between dielectric testing. And of course, with this is tested at 100K per foot, so your local the guy that comes out and tests your booms will be able to recertify this thing.
That is right. Very good point.
So yeah, a lot of our higher voltage stuff has got to go to a test lab like Centralia, Missouri at Hubble, but the small stuff like this can be tested with mobile units.
Very good point. Each one of our products are dielectrically tested before going into service. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Hey, Noah, Brian Heinstar.
Hey,
The boom mount adapter, is that far off, or same thing, kind of all for the new year? Is that the idea?
It would all be for the new year for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. First quarter 2022, that design should be released. And at that point, I'm hoping by the end of the first quarter, every single adapter design that is standard for the most part, we hope will have been released. The one with the boom mounted would be nice because it's going to have adjustments width and height for the different boom sizes. So that's probably going to be one of your more popular ones for sure. And then your standard derricks, digger derrick models will be designed as well for the digger derricks. And then for the bucket trucks, it's kind of already set when they're going to attach it to the jib. I'm not sure if that was explained there. Yeah. So that 3-foot piece of glass that was coming up the center, that's going to be attached to the material handling jib of the bucket trucks. And there's only, I think, 2 different sizes out there prominently right now, right? Maybe 3.
Yeah. Well,
So we got a 3 inch and a 2 7/8, and then like another 3 and something. But anyhow, those will be an easy enough fix for the bucket trucks.
now the reason we have to have that vertical piece on the buckets is we don't know what condition that material handling jib is in.
Right.
And a lot of times they aren't tested independently of the truck. So we don't know the condition it'll be, and we don't want to get into a situation of phase to ground or phase to phase across the bucket. So that's why we have to have the vertical piece.
Okay.
We're also looking at designing a single warhead for that mast right there. So you'll be able to do a single pick of energized phase for the B for the bucket or for the digger. You can do a single pick if you don't need all 3.
So Brian, you also a lot of the auxiliary arms in your area, the first ones that we had ever built, they had that option to pull that cross arm off and put a single line pick on the end of it. So this is what Dave is referring to here.
Continuation of that.
Okay.
So you got kind of 2 in 1.
Yeah. And that glass is rated up, that piece of that mast right there is up to 34.5. So if you can go up to some distribution that's considered distribution, some of it's considered sub-transmission, and 34.5 is some places considered transmission. So it just depends on where you're at. But anyway, we can get up to 34.5 with that piece of vertical, mast.
And I guess something that we really didn't talk about yesterday and is maybe worth mentioning, you could use that same crossarm is used on both the B and the D, right?
It's just longer on the D. The standard model is longer on the digger.
Gotcha. But if somebody ordered the smaller one,
no, they could put it.
Then they can use it for both the digger and the bucket. So you kind of get the option to use with the bucket truck and the digger derrick. So that's also another neat feature there as well. You can choose that day, which one you're going to need it on. Yeah. As always, we go up to our original name, Diversified, and putting all kinds of different options with the product. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yesterday we finished early. I'm anticipating the same for today.
But we are trying to gear up to have it so that I can take this thing out and demo it. Basically, it'll be a setup for the back of the pickup, so we don't have to worry about being able to actually put it on a digger or a bucket. We can demonstrate off the back of the truck. So if you guys are interested in some of that, then let us know, and we'll try to get it set up
Definitely.
as quickly as possible.
And and one of the things that we intend to do here pretty quick is get, like Dave was saying, get those demos done. For those of you that are reselling the products, and the manufacturer's reps, our goal is to get these arms made up, get those same packages for you that Dave was talking about. And he's not going to be able to get everywhere, but everywhere that he can get, he'll get there. And then we'll train manufacturers reps or distributors to be able to go out and show these same demos as well. And so if that's something that you're interested in, that's something we definitely need to hear about, so we can get that on our books as far as knowing how many demo units we're going to need, in addition to the stock that we're going to be building. We're anticipating a high volume of sales on these distribution arms, what we're working for. Typically, when you look at our 1300 models and our 2500 models and our 2000 models, we only order five at a minimum, maybe max. Maybe we've ever done, most of ever does maybe 10 or 12. But these here, we may order somewhere around 30 to 50 of them on the first go around. And that's huge for us, but it's also going to our distribution market where that's a lot larger than the transmission line stuff. So we're just, it's going to be a big difference for the LineWise product brand. And like Dave said earlier, it's something that we're getting into that we haven't traditionally gotten into, and now we are. And so the things that we're normally doing or used to doing are changing to be able to meet the demand of the market. Anything else? Questions? If not, then we're going to go ahead and end the webinar for today. As always, we recommend that if you have anything that you want us to share, maybe you have a customer that's interested in a certain product and you want us to do a webinar with that, so you can invite them and bring them in to these webinars so we can cater just to them, or even do what we call a private webinar, private demo, virtual demo. We want to hear from you. We want to get that set up. We understand that we can't get into certain places due to COVID-19 restrictions, but there are ways around us to be able to do these demonstrations. And that's what we want to do. We want to hear from you. Be sure to comment and let us know what we can do to help you sell these LineWise products. We're looking for a great 2022 year. Yeah, I'm about 2 years off on that one. 2022 year. And but we can't do it without the distributors and the LineWise manufacturers reps as well. So we want to hear from you and see how we can continue to work together to get these products and what they can do, information on what they can do out to our customers. So until next time, which is 3 weeks from today, is what we anticipate on another product. Samantha will share what that new product will be here real soon, and Heather will be sharing that as well. Until next time, this is Noah Gutierrez and Dave Packerbush, and we will wish you a great weekend. Talk to you later.